Or the member for Wills.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I rise to support this motion and strongly endorse the remarks made in relation to it by the members for Fremantle and Macon. This motion follows revelations that certain brands of imported frozen berries grown or packaged in China are suspected of having infected Australians with hepatitis A. Deputy Speaker, all Australians should feel safe when they go to their local supermarket that products being sold there are safe and healthy and suitable for consumption. It is apparent to me that imported food currently has an unfair advantage compared with Australian food producers when it comes to food testing and analysis. I've been advised by AusVeg that Australian growers must first subscribe to be a member of a food safety scheme, are required to undertake annual audits and regular testing for microbiological issues and chemical residues for at least 100 active ingredients and chemical analytes. However, imports have only 5% of products tested at the border for only 49 chemical residues and for food labelling issues. It seems to me that if Australian farmers and food producers are required to meet high food safety standards and testing, as they should be, then imported products should be made to meet the same criteria before they are stacked on our supermarket shelves. Australian and fruit and vegetable growers have said that the failure to test imported berries for hepatitis A and other pathogens, despite outbreaks linked to the imported frozen berry products in recent years across Europe and in the United States, was absolutely astounding. The AusVeg Chief Deputy Executive Andrew White stated that the system is completely inadequate and needs to be reviewed. Growers are concerned that there isn't a level playing field when it comes to imports versus the requirements and quality assurance processes that growers in Australia have to comply with. And Mr White said that lack of testing of imported products was also a problem. He said, "We think the import testing arrangements need to be reviewed. They're not even testing for microbiological threats. The government has acknowledged this and they are looking to review it, and we support that." Deputy Speaker, I also want to note the issue of food labelling. I support this motion's intention to improve food labelling standards to help better inform Australian consumers about where products come from and to encourage consumers to buy Australian-made food. The fact is that current food labelling arrangements are weak, confusing and could be greatly strengthened. There has been a concern about lack of transparency in labelling laws about the meaning of the terms product of Australia and made in Australia, how they fit with the Made in Australia and Australian-made logo, and we do have a situation at present which is confusing for consumers. We see qualified claims which state that food is made in Australia from a combination of local and imported ingredients. And again, as the AusVeg Deputy Chief Executive Andrew White said, the cost of changes to packaging is negligible. He says packaging can be changed very easily. It's not a hard thing to do and it's not costly. I also want to note the issue of globalisation and free trade policies and free trade agreements and their impact on our potential to protect ourselves in relation to health and phytosanitary issues. The fact is that free trade fundamentalists have left us vulnerable and exposed not only in terms of economic issues but in terms of health standards, a point being made recently by Michael Moore of the Public Health Association in the context of the Australian Pacific Free Trade Deal. He said that this is an issue which is potentially of great concern. And finally, Deputy Speaker, I want to support the remarks made by Tom Elliott on Saturday 28th of February in the Herald Sun. He said that not long ago Australians understood that fruit and veg had seasons outside which consumption wasn't possible. In summer we ate apricots, bananas and grapes. During winter we turned to apples, pears and mandarins. But since the development of cheap refrigeration and rapid shipping, our eating habits have changed. But he says if we're going to improve the situation we find ourselves in now, we should accept that not every fruit we enjoy can be obtained year-round. We should try to dine as our forebears did, sparingly and of that which is in season, and we shouldn't be growing stuff grown grown outside of Australia, we should be checking the labels. Our farmers do their best to conform to extraordinarily high standards of food safety, and we should support them in that matter.
I thank the member for Wills.